Hi, my name is Brian Tittl, and I'm a teacher for Arupe Virtual Learning Institute, as well as St. John's Jesuit High School in Toledo, Ohio. And I had a couple of things I wanted to share with you today about how to use Google Sheets and some online tools to better organize information within a course. It's one of the biggest challenges that we have when we're putting online content together is figuring out how to organize large amounts of information and how to present links and images and video to our students in a way that's intuitive and that's interesting for them. So for today, what we're going to look at are ways to use Google Sheets and really spreadsheets in general in order to populate some of these tools. And we're going to look at three tools today. Those tools are Timeline.js, Listify, and one that many teachers here will probably be familiar with already, Kahoot. So the first tool that I wanted to take a look at is Timeline.js. Timeline.js is a tool that was created by Northwestern University in their Night Lab project. The Night Lab project has a lot of other tools that make use of spreadsheets in order to create really nice visualizations, and I really encourage you to take a look at nightlab.com and look at some of the other tools that are available. But this is one of the ones that I've used in my own classroom, and I found it to be very, very useful. So what Timeline.js allows us to do is to create interactive timelines from data that is entered into a Google spreadsheet. And so you can see one of those timelines right here. I'm scrolling through it. This is a timeline about women in computing. And you can see that it takes information, links, other kinds of data, images, and it puts it together in a way that is really visually appealing and really well organized. And that's what we're really going for here. It can handle embedded video as well as photographs and lots of other things. And so it's really a very nice tool. So as a history teacher, I use Timeline.js as a way to illustrate chronology for my students. I've also used it as a collaborative tool where my students have contributed to a collaborative timeline. And it's fairly easy to use. To create a timeline using Timeline.js, you get the spreadsheet template. The spreadsheet template looks like this. Each column of the spreadsheet template is used for different kinds of information, and that information is parsed by Timeline.js and turned into that really nice looking timeline that we saw. So I'm going to walk you through the creation of a really quick timeline with just 3 elements to it. And this is a timeline of the lives of 3 20th century saints, or close to saints, Thomas Merton, John the 23rd, and Dorothy Day. So I've got some information queued up here in my browser, and we're just going to do this kind of on the fly relatively quickly, and I'll show you how easy it is to create a timeline. So the first one we're going to look at is the life of Thomas Merton. And so I've got just a really quick mini biography here of Thomas Merton. And in my text, I'm going to place the text of that biography. And then I'm going to headline it, Thomas Merton. And then I want to see his dates are 1915 to 1968. So I'll put his date here as 1915 and the end year as 1968. Now, under media, I can put a link to an image. I can also put links to video. And so what I'm going to do here is grab a video. This is from Who Cares About the Saints from Father Jim Martin, Loyola Productions. And I'm going to grab the YouTube link for this video and just copy that YouTube link here under media. Now I'm going to move on and put in a section on Dorothy Day. So I have an image of Dorothy Day here, and I can just grab the image address from this Dorothy Day biography. I'm going to put that in under media. And her dates are 1897 to 1980. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of information about her life. Obviously, when I'm doing this for real, I'd be a little bit more careful about the information. Just make sure that I've got some good information for my students here. So the dates again were 1897 to 1980. 1897 is my start year, my end year. Oh, I have to make sure it's in the right place. 1897, and then my end year is 1980. Okay. And then I'm going to do another one on John the 23rd. And I've got John the 23rd's Wikipedia article here. I'll just grab a chunk of that here and put it into my timeline. And John the 23rd's dates were 1881 to 1963. Okay. All right. So the next step in creating a timeline in Timeline.js is to go to File, and then you click on Publish to the Web. And after clicking Publish to the Web, you want to click this link here. This tells you which part of this spreadsheet is published, and you need to make sure that only the first page is published. In this case, the page is labeled OD1. So I'm going to grab that here. And then when I press the Publish link, which I've already done, it will publish this to the web. Now, in order to make this work with Timeline.js, I have to then take the link for this spreadsheet. I'm going to copy that link, and then I'm going to copy the link here to generate my timeline under step 3. And all of this is laid out pretty clearly in the step-by-step on Timeline.js. So if you go on there, you can follow the instructions in order to create your own timelines. When I put a link in here, what it does is it creates links here and on step 4 that allows me to share my timeline. The first one is just a link that I can put in anywhere. I can put it into my LMS. The second is some embed code. So if you know how to embed materials into your LMS, you could use that. But we're just going to preview here. And when we preview, we can see the timeline. We can see the images and videos that we put in. And now all of this is all in one place for our students to use. What's also really nice about this tool is that it can be edited on the fly. So once this spreadsheet is published to the web, I can add more information to it and then just reload the timeline, and that information will appear on the new timeline. So let's imagine that I want to add a video about Pope St. John the 23rd. And so I'm going to go into in here where I know that there's one about John the 23rd, and just grab the YouTube link. And then I'm going to go back into my Google spreadsheet, paste in that YouTube link. And when I go into Timeline.js, I can reload. And now the YouTube video shows up on my completed timeline. Often I will share access to the spreadsheet with my students and have them add their own things to the spreadsheet. I do this when I'm looking at a historical period, and I can have each student add a historical event along with some image or other piece of media that might help to bring the event to life. And it helps to create a really nice review sheet, as well as just a really nicely presented, a nice way to present just a lot of material for students. The next tool that I would like to present is called Listify, and it's sort of a similar tool. It takes data from a spreadsheet and creates something that's really a nice visualization of that data. Listify is a tool that's created by Open Knowledge Foundation Labs. And so the way that we're going to do this is we are going to create a source spreadsheet, and then we're going to paste the document link for that spreadsheet into Listify, and then look at what comes up. So I'm just going to go into Google Sheets and create a new sheet, and then make sure that my sheet contains the headings that the Listify template sheet contains. So for what I'm going to do here, I'm going to have a title, a URL, and a description. Let's just do that for now. So we're going to do title, URL, description. And then I'm just going to fill this in with a little bit of data so that we can see how Listify works. So we're just I'm going to fill it in with the links to the tools that we've used for this presentation. So we're going to put in a link to Listify, and I'm going to grab the URL. And then Timelinejs, and we're going to grab the Timelinejs URL. And then let's do one for Google Sheets. Okay, so this is a very, very simple implementation of this. And so what I need to do is then go into File, Publish to the Web, and I'm going to publish the document. Yes. And then now that it's published, I'm going to grab the link and put it into Listify. So I can put the link in here. And you can see that in the preview that it's taken the information that I put in and has really made it look a lot nicer. It also created some active links on the titles. So if you click on Listify, it'll go to the Listify page. If you click on Timelinejs page. So this is really a nice way to organize information. You can put some multimedia in this too. So they've got a sample here. These are different JavaScript libraries, but you can see that you can put in some pictures and other kinds of multimedia. Now the last one that I wanted to show you is one more use for templates, and that's for loading information into a web tool. And most online tools have ways to do that. So one of the tools that's become pretty popular recently is the quiz tool Kahoot. And Kahoot has become just really popular, but the problem with Kahoot is that it takes a long time to create a good Kahoot quiz because you have to put in every question one at a time. And so one of the things that I suggest that you do when you're creating things like a Kahoot quiz is, I'm just logging in here, is that you learn how to use the templates that Kahoot gives you in order to create your quizzes. So if I'm creating a new quiz, I can import my questions from a spreadsheet. And so if I click Import Spreadsheet down in the bottom left corner and I download the template saves as an Excel spreadsheet. And then I can enter all of the data for my question into this Excel spreadsheet. And when I finish entering all of my data, I can upload it into Kahoot to create a Kahoot quiz. This method is a lot faster than using Kahoot's onboard editing tools, and I found it to be a lot easier. So those are a few things that you can do with spreadsheets in your online class, ways to make data more visualized. and I hope that you found this useful.